Hello, YouTube! What do you call a piece of music that isn't meant to be performed or even really listened to? A piece of music that isn't specified for any instrument or voice types. Or even a piece of music that has no tempo markings. Actually, there is no official name for it because Johann Sebastian Bach passed away before he gave a name to his manuscript. In fact, he didn't even get a chance to complete the manuscript. His son-in-law named it the Art of Fugue, or Die Kunst der Fuge, for its first manuscript in 1751. Since its publishing, it sparked crazy amount of interests amongst composers, musicologists, music theorists, and performers. But before we get into that really complicated fugue stuff, let's talk about what a fugue is. A fugue is a genre of music that uses contrapuntal techniques, or using counterpoint. We always seem to get back to counterpoint, don't we? With two or more voices that takes a musical theme or subject and introduces it throughout different voices in something called imitation. This happens throughout the piece along with the development of these subjects and things called counter-subjects until you get to the very end when everything's restated again. The fugue was highly regarded during the Renaissance and Baroque period as being the closest we can get to the music of heaven. But back to the Art of Fugue. The Art of Fugue is a collection of 14 fugues and 4 canons written by Johann Sebastian Bach towards the end of his life. They were published posthumously with no information on how they're supposed to be performed or what instruments are supposed to perform them. Of course, there are several theories as to how these pieces should be performed. Academia, after all, isn't academia without many different theories. Some believe that these pieces were actually not meant to be performed at all. They think that these were more of a personal exercise that Bach engaged in to play around with what a fugue can be. This piece would therefore be something he would hear only by reading it and writing it rather than actually hiring musicians to perform it. Others completely disagree. Many believe that it was meant to be a keyboard piece, meaning of course that it would be either played on the organ or on the clavier because at the time there was still no piano. Mozart believed that it was actually meant to be performed by strings and wrote his own arrangement for a string ensemble. Today, there are a gajillion arrangements and settings of the Art of Fugue for pretty much any instrument you could possibly imagine. But the mysterious performance intention of this piece is not actually the most interesting element of this piece. There is evidence that Bach composed these fugues with Pythagorean philosophy in mind. In 1747, Bach joined the Korrespondierenden Societät der Musikalischen Wissenschaften, or the Corresponding Society of Musical Sciences. This society was founded by a guy named Lorenz Christoph Mitzler, who studied with a guy named Johann Matthias Gesner. Gesner taught philosophy and specifically Pythagorean philosophy. Gesner, Mitzler, and the rest of the society believed in joining together music, science, philosophy, and mathematics. A major teaching of Pythagoras, Bach had previously written canonic variations on Von Himmel hoch da komm ich her, and because he wrote these for this society, he based them firmly in Pythagorean philosophy. The Art of Fugue also uses some of these techniques, such as unity, or using one key signature throughout the piece and maintaining the same melodic and thematic materials, tetracties, or focusing on 1, 2, 3, and 4 in order to make a perfect triangle, aka the Pythagorean theorem, and contrapunctus, which is the balancing of opposites and counterpoint. Since this may have been just an exercise for Bach, it's possible that these fugues were actually just an exercise in Pythagorean philosophy. Another interesting thing about the Art of Fugue is the uncompleted fugue. Fugue number 14 was never completed and it ends in the middle of its 3rd section. The piece at its current and final state of completion is in 3 voices, but there's a lot of people out there that believe it was originally meant to have 4 voices. There have also been many attempts to complete this piece made by music theorists, music historians, composers, and actually even performers themselves. However, one conductor by the name of Indra Hughes has put forth the idea that Bach never intended to complete this fugue at all. He thinks that it wasn't incomplete because he died, but actually because he wanted to inspire other composers to try and complete this. I don't know if I quite buy into that one, and here's why. Bach was something of a control freak, as you can probably guess by the fact that in his entire span of work, he only uses 5 parallel fifths. That's That's pretty great. These are only a couple of the most important points of contention in the Art of Fugue. Some people spend their entire musicological careers going over this piece and writing and writing and writing about it. As you can guess, we have been listening to the Art of Fugue, and we have been listening to it played on an organ. Let it be known, I do not advocate any instrumentation of this piece over another. But personally, I think that everything Bach wrote sounds pretty damn good on an organ. Hint, hint, wink, wink. If you found this video interesting or you learned something new, please like, subscribe, and share below. I'm off to soak up some rays while I'm still in California. Until next time, toodaloo! Musicology.